Good morning and good Monday to you, AP Euro. I miss you guys. It's this time of year is starting to feel weird. It felt weird, of course, at first, only being able to communicate digitally with you, but it also felt in a way like like a long string of snow days or Christmas vacation or something like that. But as we approach the AP tests, it's such an exciting time of year to be together in the classroom to really finally have that finish line in sight and be able to talk to you on a daily basis. And I miss being able to do that. So anyway, I hope you're well. I put out that survey last week as far as like who is still planning on taking the AP test, and I was very pleased to see that the vast majority of you are. I think of our 31 students, like 24 or 25 are planning to take the AP test, which is great. I think it's a great opportunity. And even though the rules have changed, they've also changed equally for every student in the world who's taken this test. So anyway, so we'll roll with the punches and be flexible and try to do the best we can. I spent most of last week just trying to develop what I call an end game. I realized that I had been spending probably too much time, just of my school time, like grading individual papers and things like that, which is of course needs to be done and is useful. But what I really needed, I realized by maybe 5 days ago, what I really needed was an end game, a strategy to get us all the way to the finish line. So in some ways, I paused that communication, that daily grading, and sat down and went through just the resources that are there, how much time I think we need, what sorts of activities I think we need, and so I'm going to spell that out to you now. And I also spelled it out in a document, Google Doc that is called Endgame, I think it says on it. So anyway, I think I put that out Friday, but I'll republish that on the classroom today. So anyway, here's my view of how do we get to the finish line. So obviously the district for normal non-AP classes, their guideline is an hour to a work a week. I do not certainly I can't make you do even a single minute of work, but if I was prepping for this test, an hour or two a week is not going to do it. And in fact, if we were in school and conditions were normal, we'd not only have our hour in class, but we'd probably have an hour to a homework a day in addition to class. So what I did is I came up with a plan. Like, what would I do if I was getting ready for this thing? And that what it added up to was about 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. And so I built a plan around that format. So really, my suggestion, my what would I do is about 10 total hours per week. Which if you're not sick yourself or caring for people who are sick or whatever, I'm hoping that you have time to do that or do most of that. If you go to page 3 of the Endgame document, it has my suggested lesson plans for the week. And really what I built those lesson plans around is the College Board's YouTube channel. They have a couple of teachers. There's a man from Minnesota and a woman from Florida who kind of co-host a AP Euro review session every day. And I think it's probably the best thing that we've got, including anything I can produce. And I think that for a couple of reasons. One of them is that it does a really good job of incorporating not just review of the content of the course, but into that content, they also incorporate a whole bunch of skill review. And these skills are based on this new rubric that's never really been the thing before. So obviously, since the College Board came out with a new rubric for this upcoming test, like nobody in the country has any experience with it, so we're all trying to make it up. So these people, these two teachers, they do a really nice job with it, and I think we should use them or lean heavily on them for our review. And the format of their lesson is every day they kind of start with like a warm-up activity, and then there's a review lesson. Then they assign this homework question. Most of the homework questions are like a skill thing that you can do in like 10 minutes. And then the beginning of the next day's episode or lesson is kind of going over that homework. So I think that's a really good model. And moreover, because these people have either volunteered for or are being paid for their time, I'm assuming that the College Board, whatever they have decided to make the AP test like, These people are insiders. I'm pretty sure that they have probably better information than I have or than the general public has because they're dealing with the College Board directly every day and representing the College Board in this capacity as review teachers. So anyway, we're going to lean heavily on them, or at least that's my recommendation. If you've got another strategy you're pursuing, that is great. Now, what are we doing in those the couple hours a day lessons? Mostly, I want you to watch these review sessions, and not just watch them to get them done, like put them on in the background while you do other work, but really try to watch with a focus. And if you find your mind drifting, then pause the thing and move on, and come back to it later. But watch with an intensive focus, and for the review stuff, and also then when they offer or assign these little practices or homeworks, please do them. None of them are just like for fun. None of them are early year. Let's just do some random skill building. Like, these are all directly applicable to the AP test and to the new rubric that is out for that test. So a lot of them are, talking about a lot of the little homework, so to speak, are, how to deal with these types of documents, or how to interpret this, or how to word that. And then there are, once every 5 lessons, there is a full DBQ. They've been assigning these on Fridays, and we're going to go back and cherry pick a couple of those. Now, if you are determined, like, yeah, I'm taking the AP test, but I'm determined only to do the 1 or 2 hours a week that, is sort of the district guideline for a normal class, my recommendation is to attempt the DBQs. And those are in bold on the lesson plan. So if you want to just do those, you can. But I think you may be missing out on some more stuff that you would make you not just do those, but good at those. So anyway, check everything out, look through it, let me know if you have questions. And part of this, part of the lesson and part of my plan going forward is also to meet with you digitally every 3 or 4 days. And so I will send out, there's kind of a sign up. I thought last time was nice, but it's very hard to get 24 voices or however many people we had in the room. Very hard to hear from everybody. So what I'm doing is I'm chopping it up into 3 groups and stretching them out over different times a day. So basically, if you need to, I want you to sign up for one, and maybe sign up for a lesson, or sign up for a group that is either people you enjoy talking to, or in particular, if you're not a very outgoing talker, maybe sign up for a session that has not full of outgoing talkers, and that way you make sure your voice gets heard and your concerns are addressed. So anyway, so check out the lesson plan. It's got, as I say, 2 hours a day, and I even put on there what the amount of time I think these things will take, and I would try to stick to those times. I know some of you are kind of perfectionists, and you're assigned a 10-minute homework, but you're going to spend an hour and a half doing it. Like, I wouldn't bother. I would try to stick to the timeline. If you want to give yourself a few extra minutes, that's obviously fine, but get used to the time constraint, because this thing, when we take this AP test, it's going to go fast. 45 minutes is simply not a long time. So you need to be good at the skills, but you also need to be good at the speed that goes with those skills. So every day we'll have, you'll either have like a couple of video lessons to watch, or a video lesson and a Google Meet with me, or a video lesson and some sort of exploration of like the College Board's details on how the test will work and things like that. So anyway, this is my plan. And again, I cannot and will not attempt to make you do everything on here. What I'm telling you is, if I wanted to be ready for the AP test, and I mean that not just back when I was a student, but I mean it now even, if I wanted to make sure that I was ready for the AP test, the plan that I'm giving you is what I would be doing. So it's a couple hours a day, and 5 days a week, and then time on the weekend to get caught up if I need to. I would try to do everything on the list. I would try to do it in order. If I missed a little piece of it, I would probably just keep going through the checklist in order. I would not I would not like skip the same activity every time. Like, I don't feel like doing like the homework, so I'm going to skip the homework part of each lesson. Like, I don't think it's a good idea. I would do everything in order, and if I fell behind, just keep going through the checklist. So, anyway, let me know if you have questions. I don't want to overburden you. I'm always concerned that if I assign too much, that you'll just sort of tune out and do none. But I think the plan is good. We have only 23 days to go before the AP test. So all of the work, think about all the homework packets and all the essays and all the listening to Mr. Claus lecture, all of that. We've got 23 days to polish, and make all of that worth it. So I encourage you to kind of put your foot on the gas pedal, communicate actively with me if you have questions or concerns, and simply do the best you can. Obviously, these circumstances are not ideal. The time is limited, the format is unfamiliar. We've been out of school, we're bored, we're tired, whatever. But understand, like, we are in a competition with every other student taking the AP test. Like, you're not, like, everybody has the same circumstances for the most part. Everybody has all of those, limitations. And when the AP test is graded, they norm it. So it is you versus hundreds of thousands of other students. And so I encourage you to really, put your foot on the gas pedal and do all you can to be passing people. There's plenty of students today who will do nothing. And if you can, do today's lesson, you're going to be passing like a few thousand students along the way where you are getting better and they are not. And likewise, if you don't do too much, like, you probably have people passing you every day. So, anyway, I mean that as an encouragement. We can do this. I am confident and excited about the next few weeks, and just want to make sure that we put ourselves in the best position we can to be ready for it. So, anyway. Look at the lesson. Let me know if you have questions. It's designed so you can just print page 3 and use it as a checklist. Again, the ones in bold are the kind of, the 1 to 2 hours a week version of the homework. And also, if you would, Chaz, when you do those, if you could scan it or take a picture and send it to me, I'd appreciate it. Have a great week. Hope to hear from you soon.